everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Simon Says on the Mark. I'm Russell Simon, and it's all about the NFL playoffs as we get set to kick off another jam-packed episode. Right, Mark?
Yeah, Russ. Also tonight, we take a look at the unheralded success of the CHS basketball team, as well as an in-depth preview of the NFL playoffs.
All right, on your mark, get set, and here we go. For our high school story, under new head coach Eddie Turner, the CHS varsity basketball team has hit the ground running and is now 6-1 and in first place in the conference. The senior-dominated squad even stunned rival Seton Hall Prep 66-56 on December 19th in a startling upset that firmly cemented the Cougars as a force to be reckoned with in the Super Essex Conference.
Here to discuss the Cougars' early success, we have forward Evans Osuji. Evans, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, nice to be here.
I know you put a lot of work to get ready for the season. You were a guard on the football team as well. Do you think this helped you to be ready for this current basketball season?
Well, I definitely think that it helped me to prepare for the season. You know, being a football player, definitely a lineman, it definitely helped my hand technique and my foot technique to help me in the post for basketball. Like for using my drop step to get to the basket, and it also helped me to come and pick up fouls and finish at the basket easier.
Now, Evans, there's tons of seniors on this team. You've got Jamar Travis, Austin Little, and Andrew Ehinger, among many others. Do you feel that there really is an expectation to win now, given that this will be so many of these players last season?
Well, I feel like there's always an expectation to win at Columbia High School. You know, it never drops. We always feel like we should win. There's no reason that we shouldn't win. Not to be cocky, but you know, we feel like we're so well coached that we should dominate every team, as we should have, as we've been doing.
That's a question.
Now, early in December, the Cougars beat arch rival Seton Hall Prep 66-56. How big a confidence booster is it to beat your biggest rival?
Well, it's definitely a confidence booster. You know, we haven't beat them in the past 6 games that we played them, our varsity team. So we were definitely happy to play them and win at their own tournament. But it's just another game, and we just play it game by game. We can't be too happy about it. It's only one game. So far as it goes, it's 1-0. It's only one win on our schedule.
There you go. It'd be good to beat them again.
It definitely
A nice
would.
little 2-game streak over them would be nice.
The Cougars are now ranked 9th in the state by highschoolsports.net. Evans, do you think this team has what it takes to make a run at the state championship?
Well, I definitely think we have a possibility, but actually I feel like we can win the state championship. The way we've been going, we're number one in our conference right now, and it's looking good for us. So I definitely feel like we have a shot. I feel like my coach always tells us people always ask him, what do you think a good record for you guys would be? And he tells people 32-0. That seems cocky, but if you look at it game by game, there should be no reason why we can't beat any team on our schedule. So I definitely feel like we can beat any team in New Jersey. We're just as good as any team.
All right, Evans, thanks a lot. Great job.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the year.
Thanks, Evans.
All right, now on to professional sports. It's time for our quick hits where we move on to professional sports. Mark?
Russell, the Philadelphia Phillies took the league by storm this offseason, signing Cliff Lee, who's arguably the best pitcher in baseball, to add to their already great rotation. Add their star-studded lineup to that. Are the Phillies the team to beat in 2011?
Well, it goes without saying, the Phillies probably made the Miami Heat move of the baseball year, getting Cliff Lee, adding him to what is already one of the best pitching rotations in baseball. They made it to the NLCS last year, lost to the Giants in 6, but right now, it seems to me that they're just unstoppable. Cliff Lee, 3.18 ERA, 12 wins, only 18 walks. He gave up only 16 home runs. You look at this pitching staff, it will blow your mind. You've got Roy Halladay, 21-10, 2.44 ERA. Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, who's got a 2.76 ERA, Cole Hamels, who's at a 3.06, and then Joe Blanton as the 5. Right now, this is one of the best pitching staffs, I think, in possibly baseball history. They're just stacked.
You have the veteran leadership to possibly take them back to the World Series. You know, they made it to the World Series, and they beat the Rays 2 years ago. They came back the next year, lost to the Yankees. Had a bit of a tough postseason last year, but now you add probably the 2 best aces in the league. You put them on the same staff, and you also have Ryan Howard and Victorino. That's a great lineup.
And you look at this team, and right now they've been competitive, a lot of very close wins, especially in the playoffs last year. Now you look at why they lost. They got shut down by the great pitching of the San Francisco Giants. Tim Lincecum, Matt Cain, Buster Posey coming in the ninth. They really locked them down. This year now, I don't know if that can happen again. This pitching rotation is just too good. Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, it's just incredible. I mean, right now, if you look at that in a 3-game series, a 4-game series, it's hard to beat. The Phillies have got to be the team to watch.
Definitely, and then you also add Cole Hamels to that. It's pretty
Exactly.
solid rotation.
Now moving on to some hockey news. I like the jersey, by the way.
Thank you.
The Winter Classic, which the Sabres played in, I believe, last year,
Oh,
was delayed by rain and moved back from its original 1 o'clock start date. Do you like the idea of the outdoor games, or do you think it's too big a risk for the NHL to hold them?
Well, I mean, this has been a great idea for the NHL. You know, they have to figure out how to get more people watching.
Exactly.
Of the 4 major sports in, well, really North America, the U.S., hockey takes the lower seed out of all of them. I mean, they have a dedicated fan base, but in the league officials' opinions, they need more people watching in certain markets. So, I mean, I think that the Winter Classic is just a great idea to attract outside fans, ones that don't usually watch hockey. So, I mean, I think it's a great idea. They'll probably keep American teams in it.
True.
American stadiums, Wrigley, Fenway. I mean, that's intriguing. I mean, you've never seen hockey played outside, especially not in such great venues for other sports. And, I mean, I think they just really need to keep it going. I mean, it's not going to be randomly 50 degrees and raining every year.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think it's just a great idea. They need to keep it going and keep American fan bases.
And I remember when the Sabres played in, 2 years ago at Ralph Wilson Stadium, I really tuned in, and I'm not a huge hockey fan, but it's definitely part of the spectacle that definitely gets people's attention. You look at the Winter Classic, it is just fascinating. They had the HBO special, which was just fantastic to watch, really got people interested in hockey. The game was delayed this year by rain, but it's a risk they have to take, maybe go back to Canada, maybe even add a couple games. It definitely gets people excited. I'm a big fan of the Winter Classic.
Well, an idea for the next couple of years is they're actually going to have an American game and a Canadian game.
Exactly.
So
the more the merrier.
You give the Canadian fan base, which is already, extremely strong for hockey, and I mean, but you also have to keep the fan base in America alive. So I think that's what they're going to do going on. Russell, many college football fans will argue Andrew Luck from Stanford is one of the best quarterback prospects in the draft. I mean, his pocket passing ability as well as football intelligence is just outstanding. But he lost the Heisman to Cam Newton of Auburn, who's statistically is having as good a year, if not better. Who, in your opinion, will succeed more in the NFL? Luck, Newton, or even another guy like Mallett from Arkansas?
Well, you look at Andrew Luck. He's probably one of the best pro-ready quarterbacks in the draft that we've ever seen. Last night in the Orange Bowl, just obliterated Virginia Tech. A really fantastic performance. He's big, strong, great pocket passer, very smart kid. Ran a pro-style offense with Harbaugh in Stanford. 166.10 QB rating. He's just dominant. Big, strong quarterback. Definitely can handle a pro-style offense. I gotta think he'll probably go out and if I'm a coach like Harbaugh who's getting suited by many NFL teams, including the Carolina Panthers, who hold the #1 pick, I'd maybe go to Carolina so you can be with your quarterback for the rest of his pro career, not just in college. I'm a big fan of Andrew Luck. I think he's definitely a sure thing, as much as you can say there would be a sure thing. Cam Newton, you don't know, he's got some character issues with the taking money. I mean, it's kind of like a guy like Tebow. You don't really know what you'll get in the NFL. Great in college, though. There's no debate about that. Mallett could be good, but it's a little risky going with a non-quarterback position to say a guaranteed sure thing. But Andrew Luck sure looks like one. I'm a big fan of his.
Well, I mean, I don't know at this point what Luck is thinking in terms of staying or going, but if Harbaugh does decide to leave, I just think that if I were in his position, I wouldn't want to have to learn another playbook just to stay, even though I already know I'm probably going to be the #1 overall pick in this year's draft.
Really just an added incentive, if you look at this, for Andrew Luck to go out, still be with your coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely going to be the #1 overall pick. I'd be very surprised if the Panthers passed on him.
Exactly. All right, now moving on, still staying in the realm of college football, TCU defeated Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl last Saturday and will move to the Big East in 2012. Can you see the Horned Frogs becoming a year in and year out major threat in college football?
Well, I think the fact that they're moving up to a bigger conference in the Big East is it's huge for them. Now there's not going to be any doubt of the strength of their schedule. You're playing Rutgers, you're playing Pittsburgh, West Virginia. Those teams have all had some good seasons the past couple of years. But the Horned Frogs, they were 2-0 against ranked teams this year. They played Utah earlier in the year, 47-7 blowout. They were number 6 at the time, and then of course the Rose Bowl win against Wisconsin. So they can obviously play and win against ranked opponents, and also recruiting. If you're a player and you're worried about not being in a big enough market or big enough college to be observed by NFL scouts, but now they're in the Big East, and they're definitely going to have attention.
And it gives them a lot of recruiting advantages going east now, recruiting kids in the Florida area. Texas, they've already got a stronghold on that region, but you can expand east, go after the Pennsylvania and New Jersey kids, and they'll now know who you're talking about. They've got the exposure from the Rose Bowl. Now they're in the Big East. They'll be playing a lot of teams in this region to come, and it should be exciting for them.
Reputation is very important when it comes to recruiting, and I think that they're going to gain that by moving to the Big East. Russell, the seeding for the NFL draft was decided after Sunday's games, and they were based on the strength of scheduling. The Bills actually surpassed the Cincinnati Bengals, moved up to the 3rd seed, even though they beat the Bengals significantly earlier in the year. Many would argue that the tiebreaker should be based on head-to-head play. Russell, does the draft need to be changed, and if so, how?
Well, in order for the draft to be changed, they would really have to go to a type of system like the NBA lottery, which is really a kind of random ball selection process where the team that has the worst record does get the most odds of winning, but is not guaranteed the number 1 pick. If they went to an NBA lottery type system, would it prevent tanking? Yes, but it's a different system in the NBA. In the NBA, they play 82 games. In the NFL, it's 16. It's 16. So in terms of tanking, maybe 2 or 3 games. I know the Bills put Brian Brom in instead of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Did they want to lose that game? Yes, I'm sure they did. But there really isn't anything you can do about it. Should it go to tiebreaker? No. I know they flipped a coin to determine draft selection last year. And, it's one of those questions where you really just don't know what to do about it. There's really no winner, regardless of the situation.
I really do think it should be based on head-to-head play when you have direct ties like the Bills and the Bengals. And, of course, if the 2 teams never play, then you go to strength of scheduling. But in the current format, it's straight to strength of scheduling, not head-to-head.
Definitely, and a lot of draft, you look at Andrew Luck, these kind of things can shape your franchise, and when you get the 3rd seed instead of, say, the 5th or the 6th, it can really benefit you down the line.
Definitely. That would definitely convince some teams to tank towards the end.
It would, regardless of the records. You look at some coaches maybe trying to keep their jobs, but it's better to have the allure and the luxury of getting one of the top 3 picks.
Definitely, but it also comes with a big signing bonus.
True, there you go. All right, that's it for the first half of our show today. We'll be right back with our NFL playoff preview. You're listening to Simon Says On The Mark on SOMAtv. Remember, everybody, check us out on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Simon Says On The Mark today. We'll be right back.
After 17 years working as a mason, Mike was laid off. I met him when he came into the library looking for help. He found a job opening, but the application was only online. Mike said he'd spent his entire life around tools, but had never used a computer. I showed him how, and he ended up applying for numerous jobs online. I saw Mike the other day. His new computer skills paid off. He's working again.
New Jersey libraries are transforming lives. Tell us your story.
Welcome back to Simon Says On The Mark. It's time for the fabulous playoff preview where we look at all the NFL divisional game matchups that will be this weekend. Mark, it's time to take a look at the first one, the big one in the Simon household. It's the Jets at the Colts Saturday night on NBC. What's your initial gut feeling?
Well, I mean, I think what this game comes down to is how they play their offense, how the Jets play their offense. You know, are they going to do what they did last year with Sanchez, which was keep the ball, you know, with the Jets offense, keep the other team's offense on the sidelines.
Exactly.
You know, what they did, they had those long time-consuming drives, a lot of runs, but most importantly, it was Sanchez playing conservatively enough to keep moving the ball, but to not turn it over. You know, in those 3 playoff games, you know, he only threw 3 picks, which for a rookie is phenomenal. But
fine.
But at the same time, he only had 549 yards passing.
He did make some plays, though. In his defense, he had the long touchdown to Keller against Cincinnati and the 80-yard bomb to Braylon, which was some blown coverage, but he still had it against the Colts.
Well, I mean, definitely. It's just they need to play conservatively enough with the pass game,
True.
especially with Sanchez's hurt shoulder. You know, they need to make sure that they keep Manning on the sideline because, you know, if you give him enough time on the field, he'll kill you.
Oh, got to keep Peyton off the field.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's what's. I mean, they gotta keep. I mean, just running the ball, make sure Sanchez doesn't turn it over.
For the Jets, it's finally, mercifully for most, put up or shut up time. The Jets defense must step up. They have to. They have the 3rd-ranked defense, 3rd against the run, but they're 6th against the pass, giving up 202.6 yards per game. And if they cannot hit Peyton Manning, they will lose this game, hands down. Only 40 sacks. They really can't force interceptions, even though they had a dozen against Buffalo in Week 17. It's a little different when you're playing the 2nd-best quarterback in the NFL. The Jets have been ineffective at times hitting the quarterback, and when they haven't gotten to the quarterback, it's shown. Against New England in the massacre in Foxborough, Brady had a 148.9 QB rating. He was 21 for 29. Against the Bears, they killed him. Cutler, 13 for 25, 215 yards. 3 touchdowns in the 3rd quarter. He killed them. The Jets couldn't pressure the quarterback in either of those games. They lost both of them. And if you give Tom Brady time in the pocket, he'll kill you. They got to hit him.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, Manning. I mean, you need to be able to make adjustments against him because you know he will.
Exactly.
If you don't, he will find what you're doing and he will pinpoint that and he will attack it. And you need to be able to adjust midway through.
And really, the Jets had the lead going into the 3rd quarter in the AFC Championship game last year. They couldn't hold it out. Green got hurt. They're going to have to rely on the ground and pound game to win this one. Mark, do you think they will?
No. I'm going to go with the Colts.
Why you got to do that to me?
I'm sorry.
Come on.
I mean, they're at home. I mean, they beat them last year. I think it's just Manning is just too good in the playoffs. I mean, I think, like I said, he's just going to make adjustments. I mean, you can go in with one game plan, you can finish the game with another. So I'm going to take the Colts. In a close one, with some points, I'm going to say 24-21 Colts.
Okay, this might not be the most bipartisan of picks. I'm going to pick the Jets just because I believe in the Rex Ryan system of confidence and bravado. The Jets have it. I believe Mark Sanchez will play moderately well. I pray the Jets defense will be able to put pressure on Peyton Manning. They've learned some things. They've gotten better since last year. I hope they'll be able to pull it off. I think it's going to be close. We are looking at possibly a classic in the divisional round. It'll be good. I hope they pull it out, and I think they will. Jets 24, Patriots 21. Might go into overtime.
Okay, so it's the opposite of mine.
Exactly. Hey, it'll be close. I can
Okay.
see it going
Okay.
both ways.
Okay.
They are the underdog, though.
All right.
All right, now moving on to a game that is a bit not as good as the one that is going to be after it. We've got the Super Bowl champion Saints traveling to the 7-9 Seahawks.
I mean, obviously, not many people expected that this would be a matchup, a month ago. The Seahawks are the only team ever to win their division with a losing record. Yeah, I mean, I think for the Seahawks, in order for them to win, it's going to be slowing down Drew Brees. The Seahawks secondary is in the bottom half of the league in yards per game. They allowed 249 yards passing. I mean, they're gonna have to match the Saints' offense, and I'm not really sure how they're gonna be able to do that. They're gonna have Charlie Whitehurst, most likely, a guy that's only started one NFL game. Marshawn Lynch, the team's leading running back, only has 573 yards in 12 games with Seattle.
The former Bill.
They kind of showcased him, then they shipped him to Seattle. He hasn't really, been Marshawn Lynch of 2 years ago for them. I mean, I don't see how they're going to be able to match the point spread.
Oh, the real question, if you look at this, is, why are the Seahawks in the playoffs? Why? Really, they do not deserve to be in it. They're 7-9. I hope they have no chance in this game. The one thing they could have in their advantage is the home field advantage. Quest Field, the home of the 12th man, best home field advantage in the league. But you look at Drew Brees' numbers, 33 touchdowns, 22 picks. He had a 90.9 QB rating, and he is good on the road. Brees, 211 for 315 on the road, 16 TDs on the road. He's got 17 at home. It's really the same thing. I can't imagine the long flight will have that much of an impact. I know the Saints are staying in Seattle for 2 days. They're going to be able to get it done easily. I hope. Just show the Seahawks they don't deserve it. Saints 35, Seahawks 7.
Yeah, I'm going to go with something close to that, maybe 31-16. Saints win on the road.
Yeah, why are the Seahawks? They can't find a better team. I could think of the Giants. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are easily at least 2-3 games better than the Seattle Seahawks, but that's the way it is. Such as parity in the NFL.
Yeah, it was a weird situation this year with, 4 of the worst teams in the same division.
Exactly. So. Oof, poorest division. All right, now we move on to the Sunday games. Sunday at 1, it's the Ravens at the Chiefs. Jets really got the tough part of this deal when the Chiefs decided to get obliterated by the Oakland Raiders. They now have to travel to Indy, but the Chiefs lose out. They now have to play the Ravens.
The Ravens, they've always had a strong playoff team based on their defense.
Exactly.
They have so many veterans: Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed. And I think what they're going to have to do, and they're used to tall tasks like this, is they're going to have to shut down that two-headed monster with Thomas Jones, Jamal Charles of the Kansas City Chiefs running game. And the Ravens, they only allowed 93.9 rushing yards per game. That's the top 5 in the league. So they're going to have to play their usual solid playoff game. But in addition to that usually outstanding defense, now they have one of the best offenses in the league too. Joe Flacco, the great passing attack.
Rutgers kid Ray Rice.
Ray Rice, gives them a lot of flexibility. They've got a great O-line, Michael Oher and Jared Gaither. I think the Ravens might have the upper hand in this one.
I agree with you. You look at the Chiefs, they're 7-1 at home, but they've struggled of late. They're mediocre in really every offensive category. 12th in offense, 13th in points scored. They lost to the Raiders to San Diego, but the stat that I think is really telling, they're 1-5 against teams with the winning records, and the one came against the Packers in Week 4. The Chiefs do not beat good teams. They're in a division that allows them to win, playing mediocre teams such as San Diego and Oakland. The Chiefs are not a good team when they play teams with winning records. Baltimore is a bit different than Oakland. I think the Ravens win big in this one.
Maybe not a big margin per se, because you have a great defense of the Ravens. I'm going to take the Ravens too. I know this is another great home field advantage, but I think this just has too many veterans on this Raven team compared to the Chiefs. A lot of these guys haven't been in the playoffs their whole career. The Chiefs haven't really been what they have been this year, the past 5 years. So I'm going to take the Ravens just because I think they're just more overall, much more solid team. I'm going to go 28-17 Ravens.
You look at the Ravens, they're really just a much more physical, dominant football. They can beat you on every side of the ball. They toughed out not winning the division and getting the 2 seed. I think they'll still be able to get it done. They're definitely going to win this week. I'm going to say Kansas City 3 and the Ravens 24.
Wow.
I just really don't think the Chiefs have it. They've got the home field advantage, but it won't matter. From what I've seen with Kansas City, they're not that impressive. Matt Castle, okay, but you look at the record against winning teams, against teams with the winning record. It's nowhere close. The Ravens are way too physical, and the Chiefs have not played a team like them all year.
I like Castle. I like what Scott Pioli's done with the team and the personnel, but I just don't think this year is their year. They're going to make it past the first round.
You look at the Chiefs, I think they definitely could be a team to contend with, especially in a weak AFC West, for many years to come. It's just not their time yet, much like it isn't the Seahawks' time yet.
Yeah, it's all about veterans, and that's what the Ravens have.
And great leadership. You look at Ed Reed, he's got 6 picks in 8 games. That's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. they've got a great secondary, great run defense. I like the Ravens in this one.
I like the Ravens too. Now we move on to another very intriguing matchup. We look at Philly at home against Green Bay Sunday at 4:30. There's a lot of variables in this one.
I mean, what you get with Green Bay, I think, is one of the most, just solid, the most just overall best defenses in the league. I mean,
Campman.
and then you're going against an Eagles team, which is just a big play team. When they're moving the ball,
Matthews.
when they're moving the ball, it's just big chunks at a time. And I think, the best part about the Packers defense is, they only let up 6.5 yards per pass. And so, I mean, with Clay Matthews, and then they got a great run defense and pass rush. I mean, they're going to be able to contain Vic. And, anybody that's watched an Eagles game this year, they know that's the way to win. You need to contain Vic, and you need to make sure that he doesn't, kill you running. As long as you can just contain him, keep him in the pocket, they have a chance to win.
Well, saying that the Packers are going to contain Mike Vick is a pretty tall order. Vic, 21 TDs, 6 picks. He's rushed for 676 yards, and he single-handedly ruined the Giants' season, which is why I kind of like him, especially for a comeback player of the year candidate. Mike Vick, very dominant. The only team that was really able to really corral him was the Minnesota Vikings, and they did it by, knocking him out. I think it'll be close. The real question I have with the Packers is whether they show up at all. You look at a must-win game against the Bears, Week 17, win and you're in. The Packers really didn't play that well. They won 10-3. Not that impressive, and I don't know if they have a lot of confidence going into a tough place to play in Philly.
Well, I mean, I've been talking a lot about this Green Bay defense. I think the underrated factor going into this game is actually the Packer defense. The Eagle defense. They have a great D-line, Trent Cole, and they're going to be able to get to Aaron Rodgers. And I think it's really going to be a battle of two solid defenses. I think a lot of people who are going into this game thinking, oh, we're going to watch Vic tear it up. I think it's going to be the opposite. I will take Philly in a close one, 17-10.
I think it'll definitely be close. I think if the Packers intend to get in a shootout with Philly, they will lose. It's got to be a defensive football. Much like the Jets are going to have to hold on to the football against the Colts, the Packers are definitely going to have long, time-consuming drives. It's going to be rough because Grant is out, obviously, with the injury. They're really relying on Aaron Rodgers a lot to win them the games. It's going to be tough. I think the Eagles are definitely the better team. I'm going to say they win. I'm going to go 14-10. I think it might be close. I don't anticipate the Eagles putting up tons of points. If you eliminate the big threat from Philly, make them go on slow, methodical drives, and I think it could be close, but I think Philly's going to stick it out.
Yeah, I think you definitely make a great point. They need to keep Michael Vick on the sidelines. They need to have Aaron Rodgers behind center as much as they possibly can the whole game. And I think what you said, they're going to have to get some kind of running game going. They can't expect to pass all game because the Eagles, they have one of the best defenses and most underrated defenses in the league.
Certainly.
They will shut him down if they don't make changes.
So, for what we've got, I'm picking the Jets, I'm picking Philly, I'm picking the Ravens, and I'm picking New Orleans.
I'm taking the Colts, I'm taking the Saints, I'm taking Philly and Baltimore.
And it's our last show until the week before the Super Bowl. So, Mark, what is your pick?
For the Super Bowl, I am going Patriots, Falcons. I think the Patriots win a close one.
Well, it's really hard to stop New England. It just really is. Right now, I gotta think that they are the best team. I think they're gonna go to the Super Bowl, and they are going to be playing the Falcons. That's all the time we had today. I'm Russell Simon.
I'm Mark Donatelli.
Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to go on the Facebook page, and we will see you the week before the Super Bowl.